You know the idea of creating a Hollywood-style film right from your web browser? That used to be pure science fiction. Well, not anymore. It is today's reality, all thanks to this absolute explosion in AI video tools. But this incredible new power brings up a really big question. Are we giving creators the ultimate co-pilot, or are we accidentally kicking off a creative crisis? Let's dive in and figure it out.
So you might be asking, why is all this happening right now? Well, it pretty much boils down to one number, 38.4%. That's how much of all brand content on social media is now video. The audience's appetite for video it's insatiable. And the old ways of making it, they just can't keep up anymore.
And this tension creates something we can call the video squeeze. See, on one side, you've got this explosive, never-ending demand for more and more content. But on the other, you have the slow, really expensive reality of traditional video production. And creators, brands, they're caught right in the middle. Something's got to give.
Okay, so let's really break down why those old methods are failing so spectacularly. The traditional way of doing things, one big shoot that results in maybe a few polished videos, that whole model is just completely outmatched by the relentless pace of today's social media feeds. It's not even a fair fight.
I mean, think about the challenge for a creator today. It is immense. It's not just about producing one video anymore. Oh no. It's about creating multiple versions for every single channel, adding captions because everyone's watching on mute, localizing it for global audiences. And then you have to do that all over again next week. Not next month, next week. And you have to do it all with a tiny budget. It's a huge ask.
So how in the world do you escape this squeeze? Well, for a rapidly growing number of people, the answer is AI. And we're not just talking about simple editing tools here. These are becoming the entire production crew. Seriously. AI is automating all the grunt work and, maybe more importantly, it's unlocking creative ideas that were just flat out impossible a few years ago. Let's actually see this new crew in action. For just generating visuals from scratch, you've got absolute powerhouses like Runway. It's like having a Hollywood VFX studio right in your browser. Or take a look at Leonardo. It can whip up totally unique B-roll from a simple text prompt whenever that boring stock footage just isn't going to cut it.
And what about putting a human face on your content? Well, AI avatars are solving the absolute nightmare of reshoots and localization. Tools like Synthesia are fantastic for creating those polished corporate training videos. But then you've got HeyGen, which is built for pure speed, letting you create personalized ads in over 140 languages from a single script. We're talking minutes, not weeks. It's a total game changer.
And the efficiency gains here are just staggering. Tools like Descript are fundamentally changing how we work, letting you edit video just by editing a text document. It's wild. Meanwhile, something like Pictory can take a simple blog post and, almost like magic, turn it into a series of engaging social videos. It gives your old content a whole new life.
Okay, now let's see how this all clicks together. By connecting these different tools, you can create a completely automated workflow. Just imagine this for a second. An idea from a Google Sheet triggers an AI to write a script, generate all the visuals, produce a voiceover, and then assemble the final video. It can even optimize it for different platforms and publish it everywhere. From one single line in a spreadsheet to a global campaign, with almost zero human help.
It sounds incredible, right? Almost like magic. But you know what they say, with great power comes great responsibility. And that leads us to a really crucial question. What's the price we're paying for all this amazing convenience and speed?
Because behind all this AI magic, there is a very, very real ethical price tag. And as creators, and honestly as consumers too, it's so important that we understand the risks that we're dealing with here.
Now this diagram here, this is basically our roadmap for understanding those risks. At the top, in blue, you've got the big picture ethical problems, things like bias and misinformation. Then that red row in the middle, that highlights the key challenges we have to solve, like biased training data and copyright messes. And at the bottom, in green, are the practical steps we can take, the mitigation strategies. So let's zoom in on a few of the most pressing ones.
And just to be super clear, this isn't just one single problem we can fix. We're facing a really complex web of challenges. How do we stop our tools from just repeating human biases? Who actually owns the content this stuff creates? How do we fight the spread of misinformation? And maybe most importantly, who's accountable when things go wrong? These are the huge ethical questions we have to answer.
So let's start with bias. See, AI models are trained on these massive data sets created by humans, and that data is full of our existing societal biases. So when these models are used, they don't just reflect those biases back at us, they can amplify them on a massive scale, creating what the author Cathy O'Neil so powerfully calls weapons of math destruction.
And then you have the legal minefield of intellectual property.
I mean, think about it. If an AI is trained on millions of copyrighted images and videos, who owns what comes out the other end? Is it the user, the AI company, the original artists? Right now, the law is scrambling to keep up, and there are no easy answers at all.
Then there's the environmental cost, which is something we rarely talk about. Look at this number, 502 tons. That is a staggering amount of carbon dioxide emissions that came from training just one large AI model, something like GPT-3. To put that into perspective for you, that's the same carbon footprint as driving 110 cars for a whole year. The incredible power behind these tools comes with a very real and very significant environmental price tag.
Okay, acknowledging these problems is a great first step. But the most important step is figuring out how to actually use this power responsibly. So let's pivot from the challenges to the practical solutions. What can we actually do?
The good news is we are not starting from scratch here. Major global organizations like UNESCO and the OECD are already building out these ethical frameworks. And if you look closely at their principles, you start to see a really clear pattern, a consensus forming around these core ideas: transparency, fairness, privacy, and human accountability.
And we can translate those big ideas into a super practical checklist for anyone using these tools. It means actively working to reduce bias. It means being transparent with your audience about how you're using AI. Protecting user data is huge. And most critically, you must always make sure a human has the final say. Human oversight is absolutely non-negotiable, period.
Really, all of these principles point to one single core concept: explainability. This is the absolute cornerstone of trust. It just means that if we use AI to create something, we have to be able to understand and explain how it was made. Without that transparency, you can't have any real trust.
So we kind of end where we began. These tools are without a doubt incredibly powerful co-pilots that can help us navigate all the pressures of modern content creation. But they can't fly the plane alone. The ultimate question that all of us have to answer is this: who's sitting in the captain's chair?